Welcome to the SEC Unfiltered channel. I'm your host, Dave Shumate, lead college basketball analyst for the SEC Unfiltered channel. I appreciate you joining us. Beautiful evening, depending where you are. Probably cold, but January 11th, 8 phenomenal basketball games in the best league in the country. Hey, let's get right to it. We're going to end up getting into, this real fast. We're going to look at the standings at the end of these two. We're going to break down like we do every Saturday night. All 8 matchups, just like we do every Tuesday and Wednesday night. And again, when we have internet, the whole neighborhood on Wednesday night, folks, went out, power went out, no internet. And we had a phenomenal finish in A&M Oklahoma, just like we almost did in College Station tonight. But let's get right to it, guys. Well, first, let's get right to it. This reaction is brought to you by our buddies over at GameTime app. Download the GameTime app and use code SECU for $20 off your first purchase, guys. Again, we're talking college basketball. We have conference games across the board. We got conference tournaments. Whenever you want to go to any game, any event you want to go to, use our buddies at GameTime app. Again, I've been sending it to all my buddies. And again, tell them use code SECU for $20 their first off, guys. They're not going to regret it. But tell them your buddies from SEC Unfiltered, and specifically your boy, Dave Shumate, told you to roll over. But let's get right to it. Alabama beats Texas A&M. Share the screen here. Let's get that off. Alabama beats Texas A&M. Across the board here, 94-88. Yeah, I mean, this was a game, again, Wade Taylor was out. So say all that what it may. Wade Taylor was out. Again, if this was a game Alabama could win, it was a game without Wade Taylor. You felt like if Alabama wants to go win the SEC, these are the games you still need to go get on the road because the road games are hard to come by. But let's be honest. Alabama is now 2-0 in their first 3 on the road. Now, granted, one at South Carolina, but we saw what happened with Auburn today. But Alabama shot 39% from the field, Texas A&M 38% from three-point range, Alabama 35%, Texas A&M 22%. Free throw, it wasn't good anywhere. I mean, 27 for 40 for Bama, 67.5%, 28 for 48, 20 missed free throws there for 58% for Texas A&M. That's a big factor in this game right here. Rebounds, Bama kind of dominated A&M in their own game. What they wanted to do, just dominated them. 54-46. I mean, again, some people may that's a little over exaggeration, Dave. I don't think it is at home, especially when that's what you pride yourself, your bread and butter on if you're Buzz Williams and Texas A&M. Assists, Bama 17-9. Again, most Bama's points don't come off just 0 passes on a possession. Again, it's in transition, setting up the best shot from the NATO system. 15 turnovers too much. NATO to tell you that. 8 A&M, that's actually pretty good for an A&M team that turns the basketball over a lot. That's actually really good for them across the board. Bama's largest lead was 15. That was about 7 minutes left. You felt like Bama's going to go get another double-digit win on the road at Texas A&M, all but without Wade Taylor, but still an impressive win. First top 10 matchup in or at Reed Arena, I should say. Mark Sears just kind of coming into his own, right? Mark Sears kind of feels like he's coming into his own here. 27 points, 7 of 18 from beyond the arc, 4 of 10 from three-point range. 4 assists. I mean, he's getting into Mark Sears last year, 23-24 SEC basketball season. That is what he's getting in. Bama just so deep. Had a little bit of a scare, though. Clifford Amore went down, couldn't put any pressure on that ankle. You're like, man, that'll kill them in the front court, specifically in this game. I mean, long-term for sure. But Bama was collecting up some foul troubles, and they probably added some more tape. He should be fine. He played a lot the second half. But that was a big sigh of relief if you're Bama. But Mark Sears really carrying this team from the point production. Aiden Holloway shooting really well. 3 for 6 from beyond the arc. 6 of 10 from the field. The floater range there. Chris Youngblood getting some big buckets, playing some big minutes for Bama too. You got that flagrant one that I thought was pretty soft, especially when you added at the end, the one on Jaron Stevenson at the end that they went and reviewed on Texas A&M. If you're going to call the one on Chris Youngblood, like you have to call the one that happened to Jaron Stevenson. I forget, was it Anderson Garcia? They reviewed that. Maybe. Somebody in the comments, let me know if it was Anderson Garcia. That's who I think it was. But no, across the board for A&M, 24 points. Zert Phelps keeps doing his thing. I mean, he's kind of stepping up in that, like, hey, not hero ball, but hey, he's our bucket getter in the absence of Wade Taylor. And that makes total sense, folks. Makes complete sense. Hayden Hefner with some good points. 2 for 6 from beyond the arc, 16 points across the board. Aggie's got Farrell Payne. He's a beast right now. The Minnesota transfer, 23 points, 6 of 8 from the field, 11 for 15 from the free throw stripe. Shot a lot better from the free throw stripe than he has. I think he's like when I was previewing this, a 50% free throw shooter, much better than that tonight. Had 9 boards in general. Makes them dangerous. A&M's a good team. Wait till they get Wade Taylor back again. Does it make a difference tonight? mean, you could probably make an argument either way what happens. Probably changes the game plan a little bit for Texas A&M too, but I get why they rested him with the groin. I mean, he had the injury in December, came back and re-injured it. You want him for the long haul. There's bigger things, bigger goals. I respect the decision, but could have used him tonight. But Bama, good road win. You want to get those. You got to steal them when one of the better teams in the league is is a little shorthanded, I should say, coming in. But Bama getting the 94-88 win. What is up next for the Crimson Tide, folks? Remember, we always look what's next. Ole Miss on Tuesday at home at Kentucky. That's next week. And we always look at the next three, and then Vanderbilt at home. If you went down one more game, it's a decent stretch. I mean, if you were Alabama, you were wanting to steal one of those A&M and at Kentucky games, and you got one tonight. So if you could beat Ole Miss, a good Ole Miss team, maybe a top 20 Ole Miss team when they roll in. They're undefeated in league play too, 3-0. If you get through that, you're playing a little bit with house money against a Kentucky team at Rupp Arena. It's not like a must. Of course, you would love to have it. Of course, it's called spade a spade, but it's not a must win. And then if you could roll into that, 4-1 after your first 5, and then you get back-to-back Vanderbilt and LSU at home to potentially go 6-1 in your first 7. It's not bad. I mean, you're competing for an SEC title there. So Alabama feels pretty good about that one. And then Texas A&M coming up. And again, the Wade Taylor injury, the groin injury, what the reported Buzz Williams never really officially says it. That's what I think it is. So they go at Kentucky midweek at Tuesday, LSU at home, and then at Ole Miss. 2 tough road games here in the next 3 games here. At Kentucky one again, because you don't want to drop to 2-2 in league play. You don't want to do that, but obviously not a must win in this race. There's no bad losses. That LSU one is the big one. Then at Ole Miss, if you're Buzz Williams and them, you would like to steal one of those road games, but without Wade Taylor taking it on the road, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I doubt he plays against Kentucky. Maybe LSU, or maybe you give him another day and you wait for that game at the Pavilion on Wednesday, January 22nd. Who knows? But Alabama gets the big 94-88 win over Texas A&M. I like where Alabama's playing. I do. They falter late when they're up 15 with 7 minutes left. Yeah, they left their foot off the gas a little bit. I tweeted right before, hey, Alabama since conference play started found that second year to kind of put teams away like they did against Oklahoma and South Carolina. But they were doing that against A&M, and they just kind of took their foot off the gas. But that's the consistency with this team. But big blessing, the Cliff Amore injury does not look like it's real significant. I mean, he played a lot, so I don't know if it's really anything. But I'm sure they'll be icing that down. I think they probably thought that was going to be a little worse than they thought it would be as well. But next, let's go Kentucky, Big Blue. Kentucky beats Mississippi State at Humphrey Coliseum at the Hump, 95-90. Let's pull the box score here. This game to me felt like Mississippi State had its. Tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like it had its chance. They had their chances to get back in this. Let me share the screen for you here. Just we always have a visual. Here we go. Again, Mississippi State, Kentucky, it's a much-needed road winner. They were about to be 0-2 if they would have lost this after the loss to Georgia earlier this week. Mississippi State didn't have to have it. You're 2-1, but it would have been one again. You like to hold. If you want to compete truly for the league, you got to hold up. You got to hold serve at home in the 9 conference games. Across the board here, though, we got Kentucky shot 55% from the field. Mississippi State 45% from the field. 3-point range, Kentucky 50%. Mississippi State 30%. That's where Mississippi State was not great tonight. Rebounds got out-rebounded. Kentucky out-rebounded 41-33. Total turnovers 13-6. Mississippi State did not turn the basketball over much. They really didn't. Mississippi State got 20 points off turnovers. That kind of kept Mississippi State in the game from that perspective again. Kind of felt like Kentucky controlled it, but State at the end went on the run, but just they run out of gas a little bit here. Right? It kind of comes to mind there where they may have ran out of gas a little bit. Oh, here we go, a little bit. Yeah, I thought Andrew Carr was good tonight. I know he pops up right there. 13 points, 6 boards overall. I thought he played good minutes. Look at the start. 10 points. You had all 5 starters in double figures. Productive night. Again, it's 95 points on the road at a Mississippi State team. That's impressive. That's impressive across the board here. Obviously, Jackson Robinson. I was talking about him. I was like, man, he feels like he disappears in some of these conference games. At least when you're watching him in the Georgia games, where is he? He just felt like a little disappearing act. At times, but big game tonight. I mean, 9 for 12 from the arc, 70% from the 3 from beyond the arc, 9 for 12 from the field. That 70% number. Kentucky, when they're going, man. They're gonna be tough to beat if you cannot stop them. You're going to have to outscore them this year, and you're going to have to outscore them. Florida almost did last week. They just had an off night on the road. But again, you go 1-1, you tell them they split the Georgia at Mississippi State games, they would take that. For Mississippi State, again, it wasn't a bad night for them either. This is a pretty good basketball game, folks. I think sometimes we get in these 90-score games and we're just like, poor defense. Like, just pretty good basketball across the board, in my opinion. I mean, again, it wasn't phenomenal for Mississippi State from beyond the arc, 30%, but Kentucky shot 50%. I mean, come on. Wasn't great for beyond the arc. But again, all 5 of Mississippi State starters in double figures across the board here. It's just a good basketball game tonight. This league is so tough to scrap out wins. Just a tough pill to swallow. Go back, watch the tape if you're Chris James and the boys. 2-1 in conference play. Still got a lot on the horizon. Tough one to swallow at home, but hey, it wasn't like you played bad basketball and lost this game. It wasn't. Kentucky, you got to clean up the turnovers. Got to clean up the turnovers if you're Kentucky. But you know what? You had 2 back-to-back road games this week. Georgia, an NCAA tournament team. Mississippi State, an NCAA tournament team. You went 1-1 on the road. And one of the wins was a top 15 team. That's going to help you. It's a massive quad 1 win. You'll take it. You're sitting there at 2-1. You got a big win over a really good Florida team that's playing hot. Big week coming up for you. Big week coming up for you. Texas A&M and Alabama in your house. Again, you went on 2 road trips this week. You get to make up for it. But then go still 2. That would be the goal if I'm Kentucky. Like I said, let's look at the next 3 across the board here for the Wildcats. Kentucky, big week again. Tuesday night, Texas A&M at home. Saturday against Alabama. And then the next one, they're off that week, that midweek bye at Vanderbilt. For Mississippi State, they play Ole Miss Saturday, I do believe. Midweek action for the Dogs. Those next 3 we're talking about at Auburn on Tuesday, Ole Miss at home, and at Tennessee. That's tough. I mean, I hate to say it's a win if you go 1-2 because it's a losing record. We don't ever want to say that. We say that in our football previews all the time. But 1-2 would be successful. I mean, you got to hold serve. The Ole Miss game's a must win. At Auburn, dude, no one's good. A lot of teams now. Maybe with the Johni Broome injury, it's their first one without him. It's the first game Auburn's going to have without him. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But we'll see. It's a tough ask. I think 1-2, you'd be fired up about it if you're Mississippi State. I mean, that's a hellacious 3-game stretch from that perspective. But Mississippi State or Kentucky gets the win over Mississippi State at the hump, 95-90 to prove it 2-1 in conference. And go 1-1 this week. Give the Cats credit. They bounced back after a tough loss against Georgia in the midweek action. Auburn beats South Carolina 66-63. Low-scoring game. This was the worst game I'd seen Auburn play all year, folks. Not going to deny it. Again, the people that watch the game, I think you would all agree with it. Let me pull up the box score here for you. So, again, we have a visual, folks. Sorry, it's being a little slow here. There we go. Again, Auburn, 66-63. The big news out here, Johni Broome's injury with about, 13, 14 minutes left in the second half? Yeah, Auburn played for more than half the second half without it, but Auburn shot 45% from the field, 41% from the field for South Carolina, 38% from beyond the arc for Auburn, 25% from beyond the arc for the Gamecocks. Again, South Carolina was up 6 at half, as you can see, 40-34. But it wasn't like you were like, man, Auburn, you look at the numbers. I mean, I was watching it, and I was looking at the numbers, the box score at the half. I was like, they're not shooting bad. They're not defending terribly outside of Kyler Murray goals. Shooting well from beyond the arc, shooting well from the field. But the energy wasn't there. It kind of felt like I say it early started with a 1 p.m. Eastern tip. It wasn't like it was an 11 a.m. tip. It wasn't like Florida, Kentucky last week where Cal and the boys missed the shoot around. But still, I think the big difference here to me was South Carolina dominating them on the boards. And I say dominant, but I think this was such no one expected this, that it was a dominant performance, if that even makes sense. I mean, sometimes I'm like, I have expectations of Auburn dominating on the board, and it's like you just straight up lose. I'm going to knock you some more a little bit. I mean, total turnovers weren't bad. Both teams, you had Auburn with 6, South Carolina with 9. Both teams with the largest lead, 9 points across the board. Johni Broome looks like a high ankle sprain, so we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But Auburn, good teams find ways to win games. Miles Kelly, 14 points. But again, it's Auburn, 66 points off one of the more productive offensive teams in the country. But again, your best player, the best player in the sport right now goes out. Something's going to happen. Again, you got Todd Pettiford, 15. Chaney Johnson, 9 points. Like what Chaney Johnson's doing. Kyle Murray Bowles, 25 points, 10 of 18 from field, 3-point range, 0 for 2. Nick Pringle, 12 points, 10 rebounds. He had a good game, but he had a chance to put South Carolina up late. He went to the free throw line on one of the last possessions, missed both. They were down 1. He missed both. And then They fouled him, and then South Carolina had a chance at the end, but missed the 3-point. I mean, it was a pretty ugly game across the board. Very low energy from Auburn. Give Colin Murray Bowles, a guy that's been double teamed, is asked to do a lot for this South Carolina basketball team, putting a lot of weight on his shoulders. I mean, I give him the tip of the cap. It was a hell of a performance by him tonight. Hell of a performance. South Carolina's missing 2 starters. Give the Gamecocks credit. They're not a bad basketball team, but they're probably still in the bottom 2 of the league. Auburn, what's next? Johni Broome. What's next with Johni Broome? I mean, I've seen a high ankle sprain. It's all low ankle sprain. I've seen Bruce Pearl say it's a significant ankle sprain. So it's a sprain. We've confirmed that. Just how bad is he out? A couple of weeks, a month? How long do they rest him? This is going to affect the SEC regular season race. And I know I'm telling you all that, but it'll be interesting to see how those minutes are kind of handled now. It's unfortunate because Johni Broome's the ultimate competitor. You're hate for the sport and for the league the National Player of the Year to go down. Again, he's not out for the year, but those depending what kind of ankle sprain it is, those linger. I've seen it. Again, I worked in college football for 10 years. I've seen it. They linger. Those aren't just, all right, buddy, you're back day one. I mean, especially a change of direction sport like basketball is across the board. So, I mean, that's something to monitor. I'm looking forward to Bruce Pearl's next press conference. That'll be interesting. They'll have more information. Sounds like they were giving him an MRI tomorrow. So we'll see. But Auburn survives. Again, you can talk about how they played bad. You know what? They're 3-0 in league play. It wasn't pretty, but you played without your best player suddenly, without the last 13 minutes of the second half on the road. Got to win. When South Carolina's probably playing above their ceiling a little bit today, man, Auburn gets the road win. Give them credit, but still a lot of – you look at Auburn a little differently now, probably here the next few weeks without Johni Broome. I will be really interested in Bruce Pearl's next press conference. That will be key to me. Tennessee beats Texas in our boy Rick Barnes' homecoming. Texas is it just me? Or does it just kind of feel like Texas just consistently I don't know. They're going to have a hard time beating really good teams this year unless somebody just really goes off. Sorry, here we go. Pulling it down, sharing, getting you for whatever reason, it's loading a little slow tonight. But Tennessee gets the 74-70 win over Texas. Again, Tennessee shot 44% from the field. Texas 41% three-point range. Tennessee 43%. Texas 28%. Rebounds. Tennessee, that was a pretty big domination. Double digits, 41-27. Assists 16-9. Turnovers 15-5. That kept Texas kind of around. Kind of kept Texas around in that one. Again, points off turnovers 21. It definitely kept Texas around. I mean, that proves my point even more. I already knew it from watching it. It was like, dude, turnovers, it kept them. And then Tennessee's ceiling offensively, I say it all the time. It's a little scary when they play other good teams with other good athletes because, again, 74, not too shabby, 44% from the field, 43% from beyond the arc, but they just don't have that extra gear offensively. And I think when they start playing these better teams and the better teams down the sport score, look at Florida, look at Auburn, look at Alabama, they have that extra gear offensively. I don't know if Tennessee has that, but they do have one of the higher floors in the league. I will say that. But Zakai Ziegler, 16 points, 2 for 6 from beyond the arc, 4-11 from the field. Chaz Lanier, the hitman, 10 points, 3 for 11 from the field, 2 for 6 from beyond the arc. Got some decent points off the bench. Jordan Gainey and Darlington Dubar. I don't know. Tennessee's hit a little bit of an offensive lull to me. And the numbers wouldn't say that, but it's just where's Igor Milicic? Again, 7 points, 3 for 5 from the field, 1 for 1 for. I think he needs more touches a little bit. That's how it feels a little bit to me. Again, this Tennessee team, I don't know if they can really go win this league, and that sounds crazy because they're only sitting there at 2-1, 15-1. They're the number 1 team in the country right now. That may change on Monday because remember they just got beat really bad on the road on Tuesday night against Florida. It's probably going to be Auburn, even with the Johni Broome injury. But Tennessee, worried about the offense a little bit, but plenty of time to get it figured out. But I'm concerned. Trey Johnson, again, 26 points. It's either got to be him or Kaluma. Kaluma only 4 points tonight. 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 3 from beyond the arc. It's the Trey Johnson, Arthur Kaluma show every night for Texas. There's no creativity offensively. It's frustrating if I'm a Texas fan because I don't think you can be around. You can have opportunities. You're more than talented to beat some of these better teams in the SEC, but I don't care where it's at. I don't care if it's at the Moody Center, Coleman Coliseum, Neville Arena, Reed Arena. We already saw that. It doesn't matter, folks, because I don't think this is a consistent basketball team. I'm starting to get lower and lower them as it goes on. It's easy to say because they're an 0-3 conference team. They're in that bottom 3 in the league to me right now. I'm not high on the Texas Longhorns right now. As you can probably tell, I just think this is a bottom dweller team right now. I question if they're going to make the NCAA tournament. Again, it's the Trey Johnson, Arthur Kaluma show. We saw it twice this week in home losses. To Auburn, Arthur Kaluma, 34 points. Tonight, what do we have now? What do you go? 26 points, 11 for 17 from 4 free. He's got to get a little more creative. But Tennessee, again, the floor won in this game here. The turnovers kept Texas in this game. Tennessee gets a road win. You're not going to take it. Homecoming for Rick Barnes. See what the Vols got coming up next. Again, looking 3 games out, folks. Looking 3 games out. Host Georgia at home, at Vandy, Mississippi State at home. The most manageable 3-game stretch we've talked about any of these teams so far. Of any of these teams so far. Previewing what they have coming up. It's very manageable. You got to hold serve at home. 2 out of them, 3 at home. The hardest game in that stretch, Mississippi State's at home. You at Vandy, where Memorial can be a little weird, but I think you can out-talent them. There'll be a bunch of orange in the building in Nashville. I think the goal is to go 3-0 in that. The way you drop that game to Florida, I know it only counts one loss. I know in league play. But if they can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 1 after your first 6, and then think about this, your next 3 after this, guys, you almost really need to go 3-0 because I'm not looking too far ahead, folks, but your next 3 after that, at Auburn, Kentucky at home, Florida at home. It's tough, 2 or 3 at home, but still, I think you need to go 3-0 these next 3. The Longhorns sitting at 3-0. They need it. They want something. They just need some kind of win. They do play at Oklahoma in a 10 p.m. Eastern game on Wednesday. It's kind of wild to me why that game's so late. But Red River game at Oklahoma. Tell me it's a must win. I know it's on the road. And then they go Saturday at Florida. I mean, God, if you can just get one of those road wins, you'd be fired up. But even then, you're sitting at, 1-4 in league play. And then Missouri comes to town after that. Need that one. So 2-1 is the realistic goal here for Texas. And it's almost a must-have. It's almost a must because you need to be 2-4 after your first 6. Need to be 2-1 that next stretch at Oklahoma, at Florida, Missouri at home. Have to have, and I lean towards you probably getting the at Oklahoma game potentially over the win in Gainesville. I'm not expecting that, but Oklahoma or Florida or Texas, something's got to give in Red River. Both teams come in 0-3 in this game. Both teams come in 0-3 in this game. But moving on from that perspective, Florida beats Arkansas. This was my upset pick of the day. I went with Arkansas. Florida gets the 71-63 win. I thought Arkansas with their backs against the wall at home. I thought they would win this game. I'll be honest with you. I was wrong. What did I lose today? 2 games? Arkansas and Kentucky, Mississippi State. Yeah, those are the 2. So I went 6-2 today. But, yeah, right. But I don't know. Just a weird – there's something going on in Fayetteville right now. 0-3, 2. I mean, you lost 2 games at home this week. That's where that's where it's hard to stomach if you're an Arkansas fan. But what am I doing? We're sharing the wrong game here. We're going to the Arkansas schedule. Florida game. Here we go. Team stats. Apologize for that. People internet being a little, I don't know, it's all the live shows for a little bit recently, but we'll figure it out. Here we go. So Florida gets the 71-63 win. Again, they were up at half. Florida was up majority of this game. I mean, their largest lead was 12. Arkansas came out hot early. Just like they did against Ole Miss. And kind of once the foundation of the game settled in, and you kind of start doing what you're doing, they melted a little bit. Florida shot 39% from the field. Arkansas 30%. Florida 28.6% from beyond the arc. Arkansas 18.8% from beyond the arc. Free throw percentage. Both teams were fine. Rebounds. Florida out rebounded by 10. Florida's just a monster on the boards. I think the number 1 rebounding team in the country, just off the top of my head when I was looking at it earlier. Assists 13-10. Turnovers 10-8 weren't terrible. Points off turnovers 12 for Arkansas, 8 for Florida. Not really. Just Florida's the better team, and I went because I thought Arkansas would I thought they would play better today. I know some Florida fans probably in our predictions here on the SECU filtered social media outlets out there giving me hell for that, but it's just a field game. And in college basketball road games, I'm going to pick it. So I eat my crow in that. I'm wrong. I mean, I said it in a comment. I thought Florida's easily the better basketball team. Just in this situation, back against the wall, I thought Arkansas would play a little better. I mean, only 63 points. I thought Florida would score more too, but low-scoring game. Again, both teams with 39% for the field, 30% for Arkansas, 18% for that. Arkansas just offensively cannot get it going right now, and Florida wasn't great either. But they're going to take a win on the road in Fayetteville any way they can get it. I mean, for Florida, 12 points, 10 boards for Alex Condon. He's only improved. Ruben Chingulu, love what he's doing on the boards. Not much production-wise, but the guards, but all 3 of them in double figures. 12 for Will Richard, 12 for Walton Clayton Jr., Elijah Martin, 14. And the bench wasn't awesome today, but they really only go 8 deep. They're comfortable in what they're doing with Todd Golden right now. This is a really good basketball team, Final Four potential Gator basketball team. I love what they're doing. Love how they got this win. 2-1. They needed it too. They didn't want to start 1-2, and I didn't feel that bad about it after that Kentucky game for them. But Arkansas can't really get anything going offensively, folks. Just there's really nothing. Just nothing for they need more out of DJ Wagner, a Dude Theroux. I mean, they'd be way worse without a Dude Theroux. He's been an underrated player for them this year. Continue to need that, but getting nothing out of Big Z, Billy Richmond right now. I mean, 7 points off the bench, and it's just Trevin Brazile. I mean, what's Nelly Davis doing? 0 points, 0 for 8 from the field, 0 for 5 from three-pointers. What is going on? That's got to change. What has that guy been doing? He's providing no value to this basketball team right now, and they're 11-5, 0-3, staring it in the face. That needs to change. I want to come back to that, but let's look at Florida. Future coming up, next 3 games. So they'll host Missouri on Tuesday night, host Texas, then at South Carolina. That's 3-0. Hey, the worst case, 2-1. I mean, Missouri, they're better than it's at home. Texas, they're better than it's home. And South Carolina, they're better than. 3-0. And they're competing for the league right there at that point. Going to Arkansas, I mean, you're kind of like Texas and Oklahoma. You're scrapping for dubs right now, sitting at 0-3. At LSU, must win. Circle that one on Tuesday, guys. The most must win of the season so far in the SEC. Right there at LSU for Arkansas, then at Missouri, then Georgia at home. Goal should be 3-0. Arkansas fans like, really? After us losing 3? Yeah, I mean, look at your first 3. I mean, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Florida. I mean, arguably 3 top 20 teams. Eases up here a little bit. Granted, 2 are on the road, but I think you can get all 3. At worst, you have to be 2-1, and you have to win on Tuesday night. I think you need to get 3-0. 3-0, I think, is doable there for the Razorbacks. But something's got to change. Nelly Davis has to step up. DJ Wagner's got to step up. The only guy that can really stay consistent is Dude Theroux. It's the only guy that's really just been consistent night in, night out for him and kind of saved him a little bit. Like, what game was that? It was the Baylor game early in the season back in November. That it was just a total blowout if Dude Theroux wouldn't match in Baylor a little bit. And it was a double-figure win for Baylor anyways. But we had Florida getting the 71-63 win over Arkansas at home. Arkansas drops to 0-3. Georgia, the Bulldogs, getting the 72-62 home win over the Oklahoma Sooners. Oklahoma drops to 0-3. Georgia, 2-1 in league play. Only loss on the road to Ole Miss. So give them credit from that perspective there. But that's a big win. It's a big win tonight. Hold and serve at home. Get that off. Share it for you. Again, the 72-62 win for the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia shot 42% from the field, 38% for the Sooners, 17% from Georgia from beyond the arc, 25% from three-point range for the Sooners. Rebounds, 41-33, Georgia, 15-0, and 12-13. Both weren't just terrible. I mean, this wasn't a terrible basketball game. Just Oklahoma's, again, I think, like I mentioned, 2 things can be true at once here when you watch this game, when you kept up with Oklahoma this year. Improved team, probably not a bottom 4 team like everybody predicted, myself included, but probably a little overrated. I don't want to use the word fraud. I don't want to use the F word, not that F word, just the word fraud. I don't want to use that because I don't think they were just a total fraud. But I think the league's going to get the best of them. And I can see them being on the bubble as we continue to get deeper and deeper into this 18-game conference schedule, and they're already 0-3. I just don't really like where it's going. I mean, let's look at Fears, again, held kind of under his own. I mean, it played well the other night against A&M at home in a game they should have won. That's one where they're going to be like, look back and be like, dang, we let that one slip. But only 2 points, 1 for 11 from the field for Fears, 0 for 4 from beyond the arc. Jalen Moore was fine, 17 points. Duke Miles, 14. Kobe Ellis, 14. Again, not much from the bench. Muhammad Wagi was fine in the front court, 10 points, 3 boards. I mean, you'll take that. Georgia, I mean, what are you going to keep saying about Asa Newell? 15 points, 5 for 10 from the field, over 1 from beyond the arc. Silas Demery, 10 points. And other people contributed across the board there. And then you had Dakota LaFew coming out, man, 2 for 4 from three-point range. Just like every other game, he comes out, he steps up and makes some big three-pointers. I like Dakota. I do. And obviously, Surreal, Samto Surreal, 4 points, 5 boards. So he's a real hit or miss sometimes. I just like this Georgia team. Yeah, they have some young key players and Silas Demery and Asa Newell. Yeah, Blue Kane. You also have some vets, too, like R.J. Godfrey. Tyron Lawrence has played a lot in this league. I don't know. I like this team. I think they're going to be on the right side of the bubble this year. I think they're going to be on the right side of the bubble. Let's go to Georgia. Who do they got coming up in this upcoming 3-game stretch? At Tennessee, Auburn, at Arkansas. That's tough. That's tough. It just is. I mean, what are you sitting at? 2-1 right now? Just need to probably go get one. Just go get one. Just need to be 3-3 after these next three. You'd love that. One's at home at Auburn. I don't know. Again, though, what did they look like without Johni Broome? We don't know. I mean, I'm sure he's going to be out against Georgia on Saturday. I don't think Georgia's going to be prepping for Johni Broome, at least not right now. I mean, they do go to Auburn on February 22nd. Maybe he's back then, depending on the ankle sprain. But again, I don't think Georgia on Saturday sees it. So we'll see. Big Chaney Johnson, Dylan Carbowl game potentially. Serial's going to have to step up. But at Tennessee, at Arkansas could be tough. I mean, they could go win in Fayetteville. Definitely could. We're talking about a winless SEC team in Arkansas. So we could see them get that win. Oklahoma, again, they're going to play Texas on Tuesday night in a late one. That seems like feels like a real must win for both teams. But their next three: Texas at home, South Carolina at home, at Arkansas. You need to be 2-1. I think you got to be 2-1. Texas and South Carolina both at home. You need to get. I'll give you a break if you lose to Arkansas, but it's also a game you could be 3-0. Let's call a spade a spade. Those are three very winnable games, but at the very least, you have to be 2-1. You have to be 2-1 after your first six. You can be 2-4. I mean, you have to be. It's a must win for Oklahoma coming up. That Texas-Oklahoma game on Wednesday is massive, and I don't know why it's so late. Someone can tell me. Next game, Ole Miss beats LSU 77-65. A little early, I'd say, on. But once Ole Miss kind of settled it in, you keep hearing me use this term, the foundation of the game settled in, folks. Like the true, like, outside of some of the scripted plays happen a little bit. I know people are like, you sound like you're talking about football. No, it happens in basketball too, folks. Like, once they get settled into what they're really rolling, the adjustments happen. Like, Ole Miss kind of settled in. Again, they were only up to 28-26 at half. Let me share the screen for you. But you feel good about it. I mean, Ole Miss is rolling into Tuscaloosa on Tuesday night, 3-0 in league play. It's an under-the-radar league game right there. But the Rebs shot 49% from beyond the arc. LSU shot 40%. No, sorry, from the field. Ole Miss shot 49% from the field. LSU 40% from the field. 36% for the Rebels from downtown. 22% from beyond the arc for LSU. I mean, LSU is a turnover issue, folks. I can tell you that. Look at it. Let's just jump right to it. Rebounds are pretty similar, 33-32, actually in LSU's favor. 17 turnovers. 13 turnovers weren't much better for the Rebs at 23 points off turnovers where LSU only had 11. That's the game. Death taxes LSU turning the basketball over. I don't know. So again, Ole Miss started getting comfortable, stretching it out across the way there. Malik Dia, big game, 19 points, 7 boards. Really like what he's doing. Again, he had 3 starters in double figures. Sean Padua, 11 points, 3 of 9 from the field, 1 of 7 from beyond the arc. Dre Davis with 10, 3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from behind the arc from that perspective. They had Jamin Brakefield. I've been calling him and Matthew Morrell that they need to step up and continue to play better. Brakefield has answered the bell. Morrell, I'd still like to see a little more. 3 for 10 from the field, 2 for 6 from behind the arc, only 9 points. Rebounds 4. Just very inconsistent. It seems like one of the more consistent players for Ole Miss so far this year. Padula, and Malik Dia. Seems like the 2 consistent ones across the board there for LSU. I mean, Damian Collins, 14 points. Cam Carter, obviously the most consistent guy, but they haven't found that guy to replace Jalen Reed yet. And I always heard he wasn't the greatest locker room guy from talking to people there, but I mean, it's Jordan Sears, it's Cam Carter. Sears had 10 points, 3 for 12 from the field, 2 for 8 from behind the arc. I think LSU again in that bottom 3 right now. I think probably even bottom 2 with Texas, South Carolina, and LSU. Just shake it up, draw out of the hat. Either of those teams could beat each other on a given day. Hell, probably could potentially beat anyone on a given day. We saw South Carolina, Auburn today. This league, it's a gauntlet. Ole Miss coming up, their next 3 at Alabama on Tuesday night. Big one there, but Ole Miss kind of play with the house money. It's a road week for Ole Miss, though. Then they go play at their rival at Mississippi State on Saturday evening. And then they host A&M. 2 of the 3 on the road, go 1-2. Go 1-2, go be 4-2 after your first 6. I think that's the goal. Maybe steal 1 on the road, and you got to beat A&M. The A&M game at home, that next midweek, January 2nd, 22nd, it's a must-win for the Rebs. They need it. Feel good about it. I mean, it'd be a collapse if Ole Miss didn't make the NCAA tournament at this point, but you feel a lot better if they could go win. Like, you feel like at that point, after 6 conference games, they're 4-2. It's like, we'd really have to mess up. And some people might be like, well, they messed up last year, Dave, in February, March. Very true. I like this team, though. A little bit more complete team with Dia in them. But big one coming up on Tuesday. Massive opportunity for Chris Beard and the boys heading to Tuscaloosa. They can just get 1 next week on the road, either in Tuscaloosa or Starkville. That would be big for them. LSU, again, guys, I don't know where a lot of the wins are going to come out of. I really don't. It's just Sears, Cam Carter, Their next 3, Arkansas at home, winnable. Both them and Arkansas needed. Already said it was a must-win for Arkansas. At A&M, at Alabama, best case 1 and 2. You're not going to win at A&M. You're not going to win at Alabama. Let's just close that book. Arkansas is your best shot. It's a must-win for both teams. I mean, it is because both teams coming in winless in league play. But Ole Miss gets the 77-65 win. They kind of put it on cruise control late, get a big win at the Pavilion, move 3-0. Remember, folks, Tuesday night, Ole Miss 3-0, Alabama 3-0. Tied for the first place in the standings. And Tuscaloosa, that's a big game. It's a big game. Then Missouri beats Vandy 75-66. I mean, again, I thought maybe I picked the wrong team when I first put this one in. I was like, man, I kind of like the way Vanderbilt fans love you in here if you're listening to me, giving me hell for not picking on you. But ended up being right on this one. Again, I'm not too low to horn. Just Vanderbilt had opportunities in this game. I mean, they really did. Vanderbilt had real opportunities in this game to come in here. Let me share the screen here and win this one. Yeah, there we go. All right, again, Missouri 75-66. Missouri shot 49% from the field. Vanderbilt 40% from the field. 3-point range, both teams solid. Again, pretty offensive, decent night. Again, the 60 points didn't show percentage-wise. The numbers will say it, but that's why we pull back the layers on this reaction. 41% from behind the arc for Missouri, 44% for Mark Byington's bunch. Vanderbilt is normally going to get rebounded. Again, once I saw them out-rebounded by Jackson State in non-con, I knew Vanderbilt was not going to out-rebound many teams in this league. But turnovers, both 14-14. The game was pretty even across the league. I mean, Missouri just really controlled it. I thought overall played one of their better games of the season, if I'm being honest. Missouri at home when they're playing well is going to be tough. Again, I think people forget this is a 13-3 Missouri team with a win over probably a little overrated Kansas team. Could have beat Illinois on a neutral floor. It should have beat Memphis opening night back in November. It's a solid team. Vanderbilt an improved team as well. I think both teams have some stuff to be proud about. Vanderbilt got to get a little bit better across the board. I mean, what do we get? Second points off turnovers, 19. It's a pretty even game. It was kind of wild. The game ended up being a 9-point game. Free throws down the stretch, but still. Let's go to the box score here for Missouri. Give them their flowers first. 19 points. Mark Mitchell, one of the more consistent players for them. Same with Anthony Robinson. I think Caleb Grill is going to be a consistent X factor off the bench for them. Missouri's this X factor. I don't know. I think they're going to be a tough out for a lot of teams at home. They force a lot of turnovers. They get to the free throw line. Just rebounding. Great rebounding teams. But Vanderbilt, nothing to hang their hat on. Sit there at 1-2. Only one starter in double figures. Chris Mannion, 10 points, 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 3 from behind the arc. Jason Edwards, 20 points off the bench, 6 for 11 from the field, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc. 13 points from MJ Collins off the bench. Win this year, Mark Byington for sure. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like I tell Oklahoma fans, 2 things can be true at once. You're an improved team, but wins are going to be hard to come by for you in this league, and especially as the minutes keep racking up, the road games keep mounting, these 2-week road trip or these 2-game weekly road trips coming up in this league, 18 games. It's going to wear on teams, and I think teams like Oklahoma, Texas, Vanderbilt are going to be caught in that a little bit. But I think Vanderbilt's team is a very improved team. They're going to have to hold serve at home. Let's look and see what's coming up next for the Vanderbilt Commodores, the next 3. South Carolina at home, Tennessee at home, and at Alabama. 1-2 is realistic, man. Maybe you sneak up on Tennessee at home. You get 2-3 at home. I don't think you're going to win at Alabama, but I think 1-2 is a realistic case there for the Doors. Missouri, their next 3 before we look at the SEC standings: at Florida, Kentucky, Arkansas at home, and at Texas. Like 2-1's real. If you really want to go be that NCAA tournament team, and Missouri could, I think you got to go 2-1 of these next 3. They have one of the bigger 3-game stretches that they can really help their resume pad it out. At Florida, it's going to be tough. Got to hold serve at home against Arkansas, and at Texas. At Texas at the Moody Center is a winnable game. Missouri, real opportunity here, sitting 2-1 in league play. Sitting 2-1 in league play across the board from that perspective. But let's pull up the SEC standings heading into midweeks action. Let's see if the conference has actually updated the standings. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Nope. All right, perfect. Here we go. All right, so sitting at the top right here. Everybody can see it. Let me know if you can't see it in the comments. Yep, Auburn should be at the top. So Auburn's sitting there 3-0. Again, the Johni Broome injury. It's going to have a massive effect on the regular season coming up here, folks. Big game against Mississippi State at Neville this week. We'll see. I'm excited about the Bruce Pearl press conference. I want to see how it is. High ankle sprain. Those are difficult. Those are lingering. Is he out for a month? That's going to change the SEC regular season race. Key injury today, folks. I know, he was the potential national player of the year. That's going to change things up. Alabama 3-0. You like the depth. They avoided a big injury today. Cliff Amore went off, couldn't put any weight. Looked like on the right foot. Came back in, though. I'm sure it was heavily taped by Clark, their trainer. That was big. I remember I was like, man, that's tough for Bama. And then he came back out and played a lot. So he looked like he'd be fine. I'm sure he'll be a little sore in the morning. But Alabama, deep lineup. They can play 9-10 deep. I know Oates doesn't want to do that, but this is a really good basketball team with probably the highest ceiling in the sport competing for this SEC regular season title. Ole Miss, 3-0. Big one in Tuscaloosa. We got a first-place matchup on Tuesday night in Tuscaloosa. 3-0 sitting there. Big opportunity. I think they're playing with house money heading to Tuscaloosa. Florida sitting there at 2-1. Dropped 1 to Kentucky. Don't hate it. They're sitting there in that range with Tennessee at 2-1, Georgia 2-1, Mississippi State 2-1, Kentucky 2-1, Missouri in that 2-1 range, A&M. But, truly competing for that next spot, I feel like you're talking about teams here that are like Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, and Kentucky. And I know Georgia fans listed in A&M. Those 5 teams are sitting there when it's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 teams sitting there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sitting there at 2-1. 7 teams at 2-1 right now in this league. Remember, I break up the league schedule into 6 different 3-game stretches. I think if you can go 2-1 in there, you're 12-6. You're setting yourself up for a beautiful seed in the NCAA tournament come Selection Sunday. But 7 teams, 2-1. I think 5 are really competing. No offense to Missouri. No offense to Georgia. Maybe I'm wrong about Georgia. Maybe I'm wrong. They could get that Auburn win on next Saturday. I think the Tennessee game in Knoxville is going to be tough. But if they could go 1-1 next week, I don't think they're going to see Johni Broome. I don't with the ankle injury. Winnable at home. We'll see at the Stegman. But maybe I'm wrong with Georgia. I don't think I'm wrong with Missouri competing for like a top 4 spot in the league. But I think those 5 out of those 7, maybe Georgia. I think the younger talent's better, or the better talent's young, and I think it's going to press at times, especially on the road. Vanderbilt comes in 1-2. Then we got our 0-3 buddies. How many we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oklahoma 0-3, Arkansas 0-3, LSU 0-3, Texas 0-3, South Carolina 0-3. And let's think about it. LSU and Arkansas play midweek. Oklahoma, Texas play midweek. All 4 of those teams are 0-3 right now. And those are must-win situations. So how do I feel about the league right now as we wrap up, approaching midnight on the East Coast, 3 games into league play, really a weekend? The Johni Broome injury changes everything, guys, and we won't know anything. We're just totally guessing hypotheticals here. That changes it. He accounts probably another loss or 2 for Auburn. So, again, I pose this question to everybody all the time. Would you take Alabama or Auburn or the field, folks? Would you take Alabama? If I gave you Alabama or Auburn to win the SEC regular season title, we're talking SEC regular season title, not tournament, just Alabama or Auburn or the other 14 teams in a bet. If I had $1 million to all 1,000 of our people listening right now. And again, I appreciate you listening, guys. By the way, the road to 20,000 subscribers. Go to our YouTube page, SEC Unfiltered. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by January 20th, the national championship night. Let's help us get there, guys. Again, if you like this reaction, I love bringing it to you every night. The best league in the sport, maybe one of the best college basketball leagues of all time. Maybe at least since the 2011 Big East, but nonetheless, go like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. SEC Unfiltered channel, the best SEC content around for football, basketball, and we got baseball coming up here in about a month. But I would still take Alabama Auburn. And again, that Johni Broome injury, it's just tough to say right now. I don't think Ole Miss is truly going to go compete to win the league. I think they can compete for a top 4 seed. Florida, I definitely think they're going to be a top 4 seed. I think this is a legit Final Four national title contender the way they're playing. They remind me a little bit of some of these UConn teams. Tennessee, I just don't trust the offense. I don't. You saw it in the loss to Florida. You saw it a little bit today. I think just when they start playing these better teams, and again, it's kind of like college football's moved to a little bit. All the better teams, Alabama's, the Auburns when Johni Broome's playing, Florida's, Kentucky, the teams that are competing for the national title are scoring points. You have to score points. In Florida's, in Tennessee's ceiling is lower than I think some of these other teams, but the floor is up there because physicality, rebounding, and defense travels. I don't think State's going to compete for the league. I truly don't think Kentucky's going to compete for the league. I really think this is a 3-league race. Auburn, Alabama, and Florida. Call me crazy because people are like, well, Dave, you say the league's so good. I'm talking about truly winning the SEC, like regular season. That's a hard feat. 18 games, guys. That's a hard feat. SEC tournament now, I think 10 teams could win that. That's a different conversation. That's just getting hot for a weekend or just over. 18-game conference schedule, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of you-know-what to go through that and go win this league. So I think the Johni Broome injury's up there. I probably lean Alabama right now, just knowing that Johni Broome's going to be out for a little bit, and then Florida gets both Alabama and Auburn only once, and it's both on the road. They're both on the road. Both matchups, Florida gets Alabama and Auburn. So I'll give Alabama the edge right now, not knowing what I know about Johni Broome, but knowing he will be out for a little bit, folks. But, guys, I appreciate you joining me on this reaction. I love bringing it to you. We had 8 phenomenal matchups across the board in the sport today, guys. Woo! We win it, baby. We went about 45 minutes for you. Loving every minute of it. I got Full Court Network, the home of college basketball. It was on the Dave Knows Ball show the other day on Thursday. If you hadn't catch that one, again, I'm live every Monday, Dave Knows Ball, 8 p.m. Eastern every Monday and Thursday. Our guy Luke Taylor and them were on the show the other night. Mayhem Matthew says, rank Georgia. Yeah, I think so. I would agree with you. Georgia's in that way. There's 7 teams that are all 2-1 in league play right now that are kind of on that cusp, but competing for the top 4 spots to get that double bye in Nashville for the SEC tournament. Guys, 8 games we reacted to, just raw reactions to them from tonight. Again, phenomenal matchup. Bama got a big win. Kentucky got a big win. The 2 nightcaps were the 2 road teams got 2 big wins. Arkansas, it's panic time. Must win in Baton Rouge this week. Ole Miss, big opportunity on Tuesday to go. We got a battle for first place right here. Both teams coming in 3-0 in Coleman Coliseum, Alabama and Ole Miss. Alabama coming off a physical battle against Texas A&M on the road. We'll see. Shorter preparation Tuesday night matchup. Auburn, what's the update on Johni Broome? That's going to change everything in this conference, folks. I keep saying it, but trust me, I'm interested. Mississippi State coming to Neville. We'll see, guys. But phenomenal Saturday of phenomenal action from the SEC on the hardwood from this Saturday, January 11th, guys. But for your host, Dave Shumate, I love bringing you this reaction. Go like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Tell me where I can get better. Love bringing you the college basketball action here from me at the SEC Unfiltered channel, and that is the best SEC entity around. But for Dave Shumate, you have a phenomenal rest of your Saturday night.